The first thing I saw on my phone that morning wasn't the sunrise over my porch or a message from my daughter. It was motion detection footage of a woman's wide backside shimmying through my side gate like she owned the place. My jaw locked the second I recognized the chunky outline of Karen Madsen, our HOA president from hell, wielding a clipboard like it was a sword of justice, and she was some bloated neighborhood crusader. I rubbed my eyes, thinking maybe I was still dreaming. But nope, there she was, marching across my yard in her Crocs, uninvited, unannounced, and totally unhinged. The camera caught her jiggling a lock on my back door with what looked like a master key. My hand started shaking. I felt like someone had crawled inside my house, into my life, into my boundaries and stomped all over them. Just the week before, she'd left me a notice citing violations for everything from an unapproved wind chime to a clashing garden gnome. I'd laughed it off, thinking she was just being her usual petty, control-hungry self. But I never expected her to physically break in and fix my home like I was some damn community hazard. I live alone. I'm a trauma nurse. My schedule's a mess. I bought this home for peace and healing. Karen knew that, and maybe that's what made her target me. I wasn't showing up to her HOA meetings. I wasn't signing her landscaping harmony pledges. I wasn't bending. But what she didn't know, I'd installed a full security system after the last neighbor said she caught Karen peeking over fences with binoculars. Cameras, motion sensors, audio, and I had everything recorded. I watched in growing horror as Karen entered my houses, entered while I was still working the night shift at the hospital. She rifled through my mudroom like she was casing the place. She mumbled to herself about unsanitary rugs and unapproved floor mats. Then she started opening drawers. My drawers. I felt nauseated, violated. That's when she found the letter I'd left on the counter. It was from my attorney about a potential claim against the HOA for discrimination after they blocked my wheelchair-accessible ramp plans for my sister. Karen scanned the letter, and I swear she smirked. Like she enjoyed it. Like I had no idea she was always 2 steps ahead. But she wasn't. Not this time. By the time I finished my shift, the footage had already been backed up to cloud storage, emailed to 2 friends, and screen recorded. I walked through my front door and knew exactly what I had to do. I didn't go to Karen. I didn't go to the HOA board. I went straight to the sheriff. "Tell me this is enough?" I whispered as I handed over the USB. The deputy's eyes narrowed as he clicked through the footage. "Oh, it's enough," he said. "It's more than enough." What followed was a roller coaster I wasn't prepared for. Turns out, Karen had a pattern. A trail of tiny violations and mysterious entries into homes under community authority. But no one had proof until me. And just as I thought I'd seen the worst of her, in walked someone I hadn't expected, Jenna, the sheriff's niece. A quiet woman who used to live 4 houses down before she abruptly moved last year. She looked at the footage. Her face turned pale, then red, then full of tears. "She did it to me, too," Jenna whispered. She found my divorce paperwork on the counter and started rumors that I was an unfit mother. I left because of her. Everything exploded after that. Karen was summoned for questioning. She showed up at the precinct like it was a misunderstanding. Her hair was done, lips pursed, chest puffed like she was walking a red carpet. "I was performing my duties as HOA president," she declared, as if the law was optional when she wore her lanyard. That's when they showed her the footage. Her entire demeanor shifted. Her mouth hung open. Her eyes darted. She reached for her purse probably to pull out one of her laminated HOA bylaws, but they didn't give her the chance. Deputies cuffed her right there. Neighbors who once tiptoed around her began speaking up. One by one, stories poured in. About Karen entering gates left unlocked. Karen photographing people's backyards. Karen altering HOA notes. Karen falsifying repair receipts. She'd built her kingdom on fear and paperwork, and now it was collapsing under the weight of video evidence and collective outrage. They booked her on multiple counts: criminal trespass, theft of private documents, and unlawful surveillance. But what really stuck was the charge of impersonating a legal officer. See, somewhere along the line, Karen had created a fake document authorizing her to conduct random inspections. She used the HOA seal on it. But that seal? It wasn't registered. Not with the county, not with the state, and certainly not with any legal body that could grant her those powers. When the news broke local first, then national, it spread like wildfire. Footage from my security cameras made it onto the evening news. They blurred my kitchen drawers, but left her face perfectly clear. One station even ran a segment called Queen Karen's Reign Ends in Cuffs. Comments flooded in from all over. People shared their own HOA horror stories. One man said his HOA fined him for overly aggressive Rosemary. Another shared how his kid's lemonade stand was shut down by an HOA compliance marshal. And then something wild happened. A councilman named Greg Tomlinson, someone I didn't even know existed, called me. He'd seen the story, said he was pushing legislation to curb HOA abuse, and wanted to use my case in the hearing. I think the people are ready, he told me. We just needed a clear example of how power can be twisted. Karen's arraignment was standing room only. She showed up in a pantsuit this time, still clinging to the delusion that she'd somehow explained everything away. She didn't speak much. Her attorney did most of the talking. Tried to downplay her actions, claiming confusion over community enforcement procedures. But when the judge asked if she was authorized to enter private residences without consent, and she hesitated only for half a breath, everyone knew. The game was up. The twist? She wasn't acting alone. Investigators uncovered that Karen had looped in two other board members, Dawn and Tricia Hode, helped her build a violations quota system. Basically, they created fake fines to balance the HOA's books. Every unapproved paint tone or incorrect flag angle was money in their slush fund. Karen was their muscle, and they'd gotten away with it for years. But once one person stands up, it only takes a few more before the whole thing falls. The sheriff's niece Jenna helped organize a neighborhood gathering. For the first time, people came out of their homes not to report violations, but to tell their truth. They cried. They shouted. They hugged. Some of them apologized to me for not believing the rumors about Karen before. I wasn't bitter. I wasn't angry. I was just exhausted. But I felt something else too. Relief. Like the whole neighborhood had been holding its breath and finally exhaled. Karen's sentence wasn't massive 18 months, mostly probation and restitution for the homes she'd violated, but the fallout? That was bigger. The HOA was dissolved 2 weeks later. The remaining board members were stripped of their titles. The neighborhood voted to restructure its governance through a volunteer community council, with rules decided by a majority and transparency baked into every process. Me? I was asked to help lead it. I said no at first. But then Jenna looked at me with those wide, hopeful eyes and said, "You're the only one who saw her clearly when no one else did." So I said yes. Now, when I walk through my garden, my wind chimes clinking softly in the breeze, my sister's ramp gleaming under the afternoon sun, I don't feel like I'm trespassing in my own life anymore. I feel whole. I left the cameras up, not because I expect another Karen, but because sometimes the best way to protect your peace is to remember what it took to earn it. As for Karen, last I heard, she moved to a condo complex across town where there wasn't an HOA. Ironic, isn't it? No clipboard, no bylaws. Just a woman with too much pride and not enough power to abuse anymore. But the real justice? It wasn't the court date or the mugshot or the public disgrace. It was the community that rose up. The neighbors who stopped whispering and started organizing. The quiet people who decided enough was enough. Because when one person dares to shine a light in the darkness, it shows everyone else they can do the same. So here's to the wind chimes, the colorful gardens, the homemade signs and messy yards and ramps and flags and lives lived unapologetically. To all of us who've been told we didn't fit in, maybe it's time to stop fitting and start standing. What would you have done if Karen broke into your home?